Strategically located at the intersection of two major regional markets of SADC and COMESA, Zambia has often been identified as having the potential to be a regional trade and investment hub for the Southern African region. Over the years, the realization that the country stands to benefit from free trade spurred the Zambian government to undertake various reforms aimed at transforming its trade policy from inward-looking and protectionist to more outward-oriented export-promoting policies. Since the 1990s, therefore, trade liberalization and enhanced regional integration have been at the heart of Zambia's development agenda and resulted in some gains in the form of increased variety of products and lower prices as a direct result of the reduction in tariff barriers. Similarly, tariff reductions have led to increases in intra-country trade. However, despite Zambia's trade liberalization efforts and outward-oriented policies, Zambia's non-copper exports have remained weak, recording an average growth of 3% over the past 5 years. Notably, although trade liberalization led to increased trade with the rest of the world, it also saw the country witness the unprecedented closure of manufacturing firms and a sharp drop in the value-added contribution of manufacturing to the GDP from the highs of 37% in 1992 to 8% in 2012. Given the relatively weak export performance and noted difficulty in attaining high levels of industrialization to facilitate diversification away from copper exports, the question raised is what exactly will it take to push Zambia to achieve her vision of becoming a prosperous middle-income country by 2030? Notably, this question too has been raised relentlessly as numerous factions have sought to address Zambia's growth paradox. Various stakeholders have highlighted their own reasons for the slow growth in the sector. The Zambia Association of Manufacturers has cited high taxes in imports of raw materials manufacturers use to make their products as one major obstacle to the growth of the industry, among other obstacles.
We have challenges surrounding the tax policy, and this we keep singing songs. The challenge we have with the tax policy is that I think at one point, because the manufacturing industry collapsed in Zambia, you needed to have access to finished manufactured products. So what we did was we reduced duty on a number of manufactured products that were not being manufactured here. And at the time after the industry had collapsed, basically almost everything was not being manufactured here.
The taxation is another element that puts pressure on the manufacturing sector. Taxation in the areas of import duty, customs duty, excise duty when you're exporting, plus the domestic taxes, VAT and so forth. So when you put all these elements together, they all need to be at a good level in order for manufacturing to thrive. Whereas when you are looking at other sectors like tourism, you are just looking mainly at one or two areas. For example, the cost of fuel might be the biggest impact on tourism. If you look at agriculture, it might be the cost of electricity for irrigation purposes. If you look at the mining industry, it would be probably the cost of electricity to the mines as being the big issue. In manufacturing, all the elements need to be correct in order for manufacturing to thrive.
Well, I would say that the taxes generally are not unfair. Right? The levels of taxes are not unfair when it comes to importing. However, you find that company X, because they've got this ZDA investment license, claiming that they're going to produce food, which is in the priority sector, end up producing products which are not in the priority sector and benefit from a zero tax when it comes to importation. So that's where it's uneven. The tax itself is not very high. All companies should be able to afford to pay those import duty taxes. But what happens is when, say for example, Natural Valley imports its product, it has to pay duties and taxes at the border. Another company, Company X, I'm not going to mention them, but there are numerous companies also producing water, is not paying taxes because they claim that they're producing food, and water doesn't fall into that priority sector. So what happens is those guys bring in the raw materials duty-free, just because they've got the ZDA license. And that means that companies like Natural Valley have to compete with those guys who aren't paying import duties on raw materials, trucks, machinery, things like that.
2015 was a classic year of ups and downs and swings and roundabouts. So many things happening that are out of your control, which make it very difficult to maintain your business and stay profitable. Some of those classic examples are, the lack of power, load shedding. How do you combat load shedding? Oh, you have to go out and spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on a generator. That's the answer you're given. Where's that money going to come from? How are you going to afford to run those generators within your business? Those are some of the challenges on power we have.
Government has got the responsibility to ensure a level playing field for all players in the manufacturing sector. But what becomes apparent is that development is not the sole purview of government and requires that all stakeholders come together to achieve the nation's shared vision.